Good morning, welcome back to the woods, and you'll find me in the middle of a mini heat wave. Not the kind of heat wave you got in Canada at the moment, because I know it's ridiculously warm there, but it's reasonably warm here. Hit 30 degrees yesterday, and I think it's going to be warmer today. It's 9:20 in the morning, and I'm going to get my fire going. Now I'm going to keep the fire small today, just for a couple of brews, and just to keep the bugs away. Now, a few of you have been asking how my bug machine has been going. Well, I'll be honest with you, it does work. It's not brilliant, but I've been keeping it close to myself, and the last couple of visits, I'm not sure if it's been making me ill. So I've left it at home today, got some repellent here, but I don't think I'm going to need it, because around here, when it's this warm, don't tend to get a lot of midges. In fact, none. So we'll just get the fire going, a little bit of smoke, keep whatever bugs are at bay. Intentions. The fire from my last visit 4 days ago, where the logs are just sitting there, and there's still a little bit of white on them, and hasn't rained, so they're bone dry. Well, I'm going to attempt to get them going with my magnifying glass. Now, I did bring a tin can with me again, and later on, when the sun is higher in the sky, I'm going to have another go with a parabolic lens. I'm not holding out much hope, because there's so much tree cover here. I don't really think I'm going to get a strong enough ray of sun, but I'm going to try it again. And this time, obviously this is a different can, I'm going to try and shine it up a bit with the base of my fire, which is clay. So I'm going to dig a bit of that out, put a little bit of water in it, use my bandana and try and shine it up. But that's going to be later on. If you watched my last video where I was processing nettle fibres, I mentioned the byproduct, the inner pith, is good for lighting fires when it's dry. Well, it's on the floor, it's still a little bit green, but I think it'll do just fine. Gathered some nice dry twigs as well, and hopefully this will go up minimum effort. Now, if it doesn't work, what I think I'll do is make a tinder cone and light it that way, because I do like the tinder cone. Because I'm low on tinder bundle material in this woods, there's some dead ferns, but I think ferns are crap, so I'll probably use some scrapings and whatever else I can find, but that's only if this doesn't work. I need to move. Well, that's about 5-10 minutes and I'm giving up. It's not working. So I'm going to try something else. Punk wood. Don't want to light. Well, that hasn't worked, so I'm going to try some charcloth, and if it doesn't like charcloth, well, then forget it. It's definitely the sun. We lit that easy enough. The only thing is now I got nothing prepared, so I'm going to have to do this double quick and get the punk wood going as a coal extender. It's still a bit wet. Well, seeing as I had nothing prepared, that wasn't too bad. But yeah, chat cloth, brilliant stuff. It's ridiculously warm now, so I've got to make full use of them flames, get my kettle on. Something I wanted to add about fire. A lot of my viewers, in fact most of my viewers, are in Canada and the USA. And I know in Canada you get fire bans, and you've probably got one on at the moment. And I did get a comment a few videos back on safety. Well, that is burning on top of a decent sized mound of clay. There's no depth here. I've been coming here for years and walked it down, and while there's flame I won't leave this spot. I've also got 5 litres of water, so if I needed to douse something I could, but the risk of a forest fire here is really, really low. So don't think I'm being careless. I know what I'm doing and I'm sensible with fires. I'm also extremely warm. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Just in case you're a new viewer, this kit I basically call my forever fire kit, because this should last you a lifetime with a bit of experience. And basically what I've got in here is my magnifying glass, a striker light set, char cloth, a piece of denim just in case I want to make some more char cloth, I got some amadou, and I got some chaga. For some reason I got a bit of toilet tissue in here as well, and 2 of these cotton wool swabs, which shouldn't really be in there, but they are. So you can make charred material in the tin. I wouldn't throw it in the fire. I do a little burn in there and then smother it. I prefer to do it that way than nuking your tin. May not be quite as good, but then your tin's going to last a hell of a lot longer. So that's that kit, just in case you haven't seen it before. Now in my last video I was processing nettle fibres, but I ran out of time, so I had to leave some of them here, some of the stems. They were crushed. The only thing is, with this heat, I really didn't want them to dry out, so I've left them in the tarp and I covered them in water. Now that may have gone by now, so let's have a look to see if they're still usable. Looking good. They've basically soaked all the water up and they're nice and wet. I'm going to process these now and add them to the other pile. Now, I did mention in the previous video about me using the carbon castron felt knife, and it discolouring quite easily. I think I remember what I did now. I split them down. So instead of opening them up with my nails, I split them down the middle. So that's why I use the knife. I'm not going to need to do that. I'll do them the same way as last time. But that's in RWL 34 stainless. That's not going to discolour. Well, I'm about 10 stems in, and trust me when I say it's a damn sight harder to do them when they're fresh, even with them being wet. Clinging on a lot more. But if I hadn't have soaked them, more or less would have been a write-off. Yeah, struggling a bit, but I'm not going to let them go to waste. I find I've got to snap them at closer intervals. I'm snapping them every, say, 5 inches, where when they're fresh I'm snapping them about every 10. And I'm losing some on the end as well. Yeah, this is just too fiddly now for my big fat thumbs. Forget it. I decided to have a cup of tea. The fire was smouldering, so I just got some sticks off the floor, piled them on, and they went up straight away. But God, this is boring. If you had to do this, trust me, you'd never, ever forget your paracord, ever again. These really are clinging on this time. I should have probably thought to myself, nah, don't bother. Leave this to the hippie types. Oh, kettle's boiling. Or my advice to you, if you gather a nice big bundle, don't leave them on half. Do them all if you can. And I know when this bundle has dried, there's going to be a lot of greenery still on it. So I'm going to be picking them off like hell. One thing I could do, take them home, put them in an airtight container with some water and just leave it rot off. I've done that in the past. I did that with New Zealand flax. A chap, Patrick McGlinchey, who's British bushcraft and survival instructor. Guy really knows his stuff. Patrick's excellent. And he did a talk about 3 years ago in the wilderness gathering on binecraft, which is basically making string, which is a posh way of saying it. And he was telling us about New Zealand flax, the stuff that they plant in industrial and retail parks. And he said what to do with it. So I got some and I left it 8 months in water for any greenery to rot off, and I made 10 foot of really nice cordage out of it. Fair play, he knows his stuff, that guy. I know it's not native, but it did make far nicer cordage than willow or nettle, trust me. Right, I'm going to have a cup of tea again. And this is only my second cup of tea, and it's now 5 to 11, because it is that warm. Well, I had 6 stems left, and they were absolute nightmare to separate, so I gave up. I don't like giving up, but it was a complete waste of my time. But that's how much I got off today, which is not much at all. And that took me about half an hour. And this lot here are from a couple of days ago, and believe me, it was a damn sight quicker separating them with the fresh stems. So, as I said just now, don't bother second day, well, fourth day. It's just, even when they're wet, it's just not worth the bother, because they don't want to separate tidy. I'll leave these here to dry. See, I got a bit of stick there now. And that's dried there quickly, because I only put them up there 5 minutes ago. These are basically ready to go. If I wanted to, I could make some cordage out of these right now. But I'm not going to, because I'm going to keep them for future projects. Well, I'm going to have a go with this parabolic lens now. I don't think for 1 minute it's going to work. Somebody commented on the last parabolic lens video and said, I've got a proper one, and I still can't get it to work. I don't think the sun here is hot enough. I forgot, I put a bit of kitchen roll in there to stop my pack getting wet. If there's anything in there. So I'll save my bandana and use that. That's a bit better. Reasonably shiny. I finished it off with the contents of a tea bag in the corner of my shirt, because the shirt's going to have to go in the wash because I'm soaked with sweat. That's looking pretty good. I don't think I'll get that any better doing it out here in the woods. The only way I'd get that better would be to use some autosol. But you're not going to have autosol in the woods, are you? No, but you're going to have some dirt. Let's get some char cloth, give it a go. The only thing that's going to burn you is my bald head. Forget it. I'm going to leave it there in the sun, see if anything happens. I don't think it will, but it's worth a go. Everything's worth a go. That's been sitting there for 10 minutes and nothing at all is happening. Not a sausage. I'm going to leave it there now for a bit longer, perhaps another half an hour. Never know. If it does work, I'll let you know. Wouldn't hold my breath. Well, lessons learned today. If you haven't got decent tinder, don't rely on a magnifying glass. Even when it's nice and warm with good sunlight. The char cloth just lights straight away. I couldn't even get the punk wood to light. Saying that, it may light now because we're 2 hours later. Well, no, actually we're a bit more than 2 hours later. We're 2.5 hours later. Tell you what, I'll give it a go. Two and a half hours makes a difference. Unfortunately, it's not embering up. A little bit more work and it will. It's struggling, but I've got a tiny ember. I'm back in the shade. I'm bloody cooking by there. It's gone out. But that's quite a difference 2.5 hours make. So if you were in the shit and you needed to light the fire with one of them, I suggest you wait till midday. Yeah, that's gone out. Well, thank you very much for watching this fire heavy video. I hope you appreciated it and I hope you give it a thumbs up. Until the next time, ta-ra. It's one hot ass day. I'm playing with fire. What? Okay now. And this time, obviously this is a different can. I'm going to try and shine it up a bit with the base of my fire. And that's made... Oh fuck, what's that made from? Clay. With Mr. Sun. Worth a go. It's ridiculously warm now. So I'm going to better put the puck a poke apart. What's that stuff called? Oh my god, I can't remember what that stuff's called. Char cloth. The fuck have I done?